So, I'd like to introduce you to Google. I'll explain why they're all here. So, to my immediate right is Tom Perkins. He's the Director, Vice President of Business Development for Dimension Technologies at DI3D. To his right is Nick Stefan, who is a Video Technology Officer for Next Galaxy. And to his immediate right is Bertrand Nepko, who's, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. It's fine. It's never. Okay, excuse me. Once I can't do it. Okay. Just want to put something in now. Oh. Very badly. More than So, Bertrand, of course, is CEO of VRVana. And so I'd like to give some quick highlights of what each company does. So, Tom is developing a brand new glasses-free stereoscopic 3D display. Very exciting stuff, and I will of course explain why. Next Galaxy has developed 360-degree headphones for VR. And Bertrand has developed, name of the product. It's a Totem. Totem, of course. Totem head-mounted display, and of course we'll discuss why that's set up in the data. So, you're up first. Welcome to Immersed. Thank you so much for coming up. You're based in Rochester, yes?
Absolutely. I just do south. If you go by boat, straight shot. On a clear day, you can see Rochester.
So, like I mentioned earlier in the story, of course, 3D, very much glasses-based technology. We have seen a lot of success in the cinema world. Why is it important to have glasses-free display? Why is this angle so important?
Well, I think the first place to start is when the study was done by Nielsen and said they were looking at the 3D market and trying to crack the 3D TV audience, home audience. They found that 57% of consumers would not buy 3D if they had to wear glasses. So that's a huge market barrier. And that's more than half the market that is just saying, not right, not the kind of experience that we want to have.
I can confirm. A couple of years ago, we had done studies, and one of the was special for broadcast content. I mean, Blu-ray movies were okay, gaming was okay because it's that one-to-one experience. But once we dealt with broadcasting and sports, it was like glasses were a big issue.
I think there's just obviously a big advantage to being able to enjoy real depth 3D without wearing glasses. If people have a choice over glasses-based and glasses-free, and the depth is the same, and the experience is the same, that the glasses-free is going to be the preferred experience.
Now, here's the thing. Glasses-free, I mean, it's been around. There have been all kinds of glasses-free 3D displays on the market, whether it's particular, whether it's a parallel barrier. It's not new to say that this display is glasses-free. What have been the key challenges of having glasses-free 3D technology?
Well, I think just to speak to the approach, I think is what's radically different in the way that we're going about it. We've been working with auto stereoscopic displays for over 20 years now. We started the development working with NASA. So we've been developing at a very high scientific level, very extreme demands in terms of accuracy, realism, the idea that they were going to be doing data visualizations initially to do studies on the space shuttle in terms of its aerodynamics and its ability to handle reentry pressures and things like that. And by visualizing the data in 3D with accurate spatial relationships, and they were able to get a much better sense of how the thing is going to react in the real world. Fast forward, now 20 years later, we have a new contract. Well, this is really where the breakthrough comes through, a cockpit display. Because again, based on studies done at Wright Patterson Air Force Base, they believe that by visualizing information in 3D, pilots and co-pilots will be able to have greater situational awareness and therefore make better decisions, especially in moments of crisis. So if you're taking a basic maneuver, if you have to make some kind of rapid shift in what you're doing, so if the human is involved, you want to have great information so that they can make accurate decisions with high confidence.
So 3D, I think it adds additional information to the interface that cost armor is not there.
Yes, the way the study talks about this, they want to declutter information, they want to create layers and separation of information. We actually had a demo that does a great job of that with air traffic. It's an actual cut of data from flightradar24.com. Anybody familiar with that website? If you see it in 2D, it looks like a hornet's nest of planes. I mean, if you look overhead or the northeast seaboard of the United States or any of the major hubs, you'll see planes that are just literally on top of each other. It's just absolutely that crude word. And so what we found was with 3D, with our 3D, we're able to visualize those planes and create separation so you have a much better sense of where those planes are flying relative to each other. And it's not just stratified layers, it's actual data points that are being visualized. In other words, a plane that's flying at 25,000 feet will appear further out from the screen than a plane that's flying at 20,000 feet, and so on and so forth.
Well, that would be there otherwise.
Exactly.
So what are the big challenges with pre-existing glasses-free 3D display? What were the challenges there?
See, our approach, well, I think the big challenge is that almost everybody else has been working in front of the screen using some form of lenticular application or parallax barrier filter, something that basically alters the pixels once they've been made. And so, of course, at that point, now you have some problems with resolution and brightness. You also have, you have viewing zones where you get more A if you move across the different viewing bands. And so our approach, though, is completely behind the screens. We've invented the invention, by the way, Jesse Eichenbauer is the inventor, he's an optical physicist out of Rensselaer Polytechnic. He invented the backlight approach in 1989, and he has persevered and advanced this. I'm talking about stories. I mean, this is a great story. This is one man and his business partner in Rochester who have been advancing the science of these behind-the-scenes autostereoscopic displays for 25 years with 14 product generations. So what we're intending to launch would be the equivalent of like a Windows 15. We've been through that many iterations in terms of refining the technology and advancing it. So I think it's really remarkable. And if I may, Jesse Eichenbauer and Arnie Lauberman, the co-founders of BTI, have both been inducted into the Space Technology Hall of Fame. So I don't know how many other Hall of Famers are out there, but I'm really proud to be associated with a company that has such a great history.
That's wonderful. So let me give you a checklist from what I've experienced with glasses-free. So with glasses-free technology, you usually have sweet spot viewing, which means that you have to be in a fixed position or else the 3D breaks up. You lose a lot of resolution because half the pixels have to be divided one way or the other. Especially crosstalk, which means ghosting. So when you're looking at a 3D image, you may see bleed through from one to the other side. And there's all kinds of challenges. So your vision, we'll call it because I think you're still prototyping, but the ultimate vision, will these still be challenges when you're finalizing?
Well, the challenge, we think that we have a solution for each one of them. We have a checklist of steps that we're going to deliver. And so, we're basically going to be taking what's nice about our approach is the time multiplex backlight is a component. So we are able to take a commercially available display, remove its backlight, and put our backlight in, and make that display a 2D, 3D display. We'll be showing two. The first one, you'll see a 19-inch larger PC monitor. Is a very mature product, if you will. So there's very, very few issues with the 3D. It is a fixed point viewing display. So you'll see that, and you'll see some great footage. We're really pleased to have James Stewart's 3D reel on display. We also have the last voyage of the space shuttle Atlantis captured on a Panasonic professional stereo camera. And so that's some pretty exclusive footage that we're going to get.
Very exciting. And are there any special announcements pertaining to this?
Yeah, so here's what we're doing. We have a 12-inch engineering prototype for our NASA cockpit display. It uses eye tracking to expand the viewing zone. In other words, you really are going to be able to move side to side, and you will still see pure stereo. We will have 300 to 350 nits of brightness. We're going to have 1920 by 1080p, and we're going to offer a 27-inch display, and we're going to announce that we're launching a Kickstarter. So we're going to go live today with a Kickstarter. The pledges, of course, we accept pledges at any level, and there'll be, 3D posters, 3D t-shirts, things of that sort. It's pretty good. But at the high end of the donation, at $995, you can have a 27-inch 2D, 3D display, 1920 by 1080p, 2 viewers, and no sweet spot, no crosstalk.
This would actually be beneficial if you were in the cinema 3D world and you need to quickly see things in 3D.
Yes, one of the things, we were at CEEKARS at a global VRVana, and one of the visitors to our booth saw a demo. Fang Wei, his name is an animator, 3D editor, works for a big studio, we can't name him. But what he said was, he goes, well, this is amazing, I love this model. He said, this would make my work so much easier. And we believe that, again, this is not just gaming, not just TV, but it's very much a production tool as well for people that work in CAD. So again, you can preview, edit, and then preview, edit, and then work back and forth 2D to 3D without any loss of brightness or resolution.
So, if you've been so patient. So you're video technology officer at Next Galaxy. So my first question is, what does that mean?
I'm pretty much the head of video and incorporating that into our university situation. But first off, I would just like to apologize to Lee Henderson, who's our chief technology officer, who was able to attend today. So I'm filling in.
That's quite all right. We're glad you're here. And also Mary Steele, your founder, is here as well. So you've got, including yourself, you've got the top people here at Adwork, which is wonderful. So we're going to actually talk about your metaverse technology in a later panel. I think Mary wants to speak about that. But I understand that you have new hardware at Next Galaxy.
Our CEEKARS.
Okay, so tell us about it.
What's great about our CEEKARS is...
By the way, can you hear me?
No.
Testing. There we go. Perfect. Everybody can hear me. That's great. So with our CEEKARS, we looked at what was missing in the virtual reality realm, and really it was that aspect that allows you to become fully immersed. You can look at a virtual reality interface and you can interact with it, but until you feel it or until you hear it the way that you would in almost a real scenario, you're never going to forget about the technology and just enjoy the experience. So what we've developed and have been working on is the 360 audio component headset, as well as the haptic controller, which will essentially give the user the tools they need to more enjoy the experience instead of focusing on the technology aspect of it. So one of the great things about the 360 audio headset is if you're inside this wall in a situation and a door closes and you turn this way, you'll be able to hear that door close as if you were in that room. So how would you differentiate surround sound to 360 degree?
Well, surround sound at 5.1 or 7.1, it's set up and created for you to be in a fixed position. With our 360 audio, it's constantly generating those refractions and differences in the sound inside the room. So it doesn't matter where you are technically, you're going to still experience that 360 sound.
So when we're thinking 360, and forget my ignorance, are we just talking horizontal 360 or we're talking vertical 360?
Fully immersive. So if a plane were to fly from your top left, come down and land, you would essentially hear just as if the plane was flying.
So for content makers, are you still, first off, are you still prototyping? Like where are you at with this?
Well, this is our Frankenstein model, to say. This, we're going to have the real set of our CEEKARS at the Big Summit, which is going to be in January 20th. But with the component of getting it out there for the users that want specific content so that they can actually hear the 360 audio and experience that's something that we're coming up with standardizations because you have so many realms of different channels, up to 32 with certain devices or 64. So we really want to make sure that we create it seamless enough to where those that create content don't have to worry about the technology as well.
So, okay, so what I'm hearing is you need to do some standardization to take the content into hardware, or is it right?
Well, the headphones themselves, they're not going to only work with 360 audio. They will work with any platform of audio that you're going to put into the headphones. But you'll get a much fuller experience with a higher quality audio that you're just into the headphones.
Okay, so can content makers use code for the headphones? Like, do they have a way to get the content in that 360 format for the headphones?
Well, that's something that we're currently trying to standardize before we release that.
Okay. So, okay, and you have a controller as well?
Yes, our haptic controller, which we found out that in using certain VR technologies with the headset, a lot of people are tied to the keyboard. And we wanted to think about, of course, the 10% out there about which are the dreamers and people that are heavily immersed in technology, but also that other 90%, education based, things like that. We needed to find a way to make the experience simplified so the user wasn't tied to a computer or tied to using both hands in order to navigate the scenario.
Very good. Now, if I said the word haptics, Steve, would it mean anything?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to drop hints there. Mary gave mention to me while that you have a haptics component to the headphones. Are you familiar with that?
We do. It's the rumble. It adds a feeling of that kick to a rocket going off or something that we can actually get the full experience in the 360 run. You can hear it, but then you can also feel it.
Very good. Do you need any special sound cards to make this work, or is it you work with any PC, like any special requirements?
Well, like I said, it can take virtually the audio that you're going to send you, whether that's 2 channels or all or whatever you're going to essentially use, but that would be dependent on what your goal was, the sound you want to get out of it.
Well, and you mentioned something about availability in January. Can you fill me in on that?
Well, we're going to be displaying our first version of the complete CEEKARS at the Big Summit in January.
Okay, very good. And can people try this out today, like an earlier revision?
This is our Frankenstein model. The head controller works within our immersive environment.
Okay.
But the audio headset, the 360 audio is not something good.
Okay. Work in progress, but you're getting there, I think.
Yes.
Wonderful. Good, thank you. Bertrand. Yes. Hello, Montreal. Welcome to Toronto. And so tell us about VRVana. What have you been busy with?
Where to start? You like stories? I can start back from 2005, but we were called Innovators back then. The project started with the Xbox 360 being launched. We wanted something really plug and play, and back then the Xbox 360 was the best platform to do that. But we've been doing a lot of iteration. We're at 5th generation. That was launched on Kickstarter in October.
I'm sorry, so rewind a little.
Okay, yeah.
5th generation of what?
Of our ML display.
Okay.
So we started in 2005 with micro display, 4 resolution, 16-bit. Was horrible, you know. We iterated the second time with better display. Last year we had a SVG version, which was quite good, but not immersive enough. We wanted something really immersive. And then with all those nice smartphone displays, it was a lot easier for us to go in a wider field of view. So, retro generation is.
So something, before we continue, I just want to check something. Just by show of hands, how many of you are familiar with what a head-mounted display is? Okay, because I did a presentation the other day, and someone said, what is a head-mounted display? After I spent 20 minutes explaining all these exciting stuff. So I just want to make sure everyone's on the same wavelength. So, one of the big things with, by the way, did you bring your head-mounted display?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good, because that's next story.
We didn't have power, so we didn't have time to.
Yeah, we're working on that solar power mechanism here. We want to be an eco-friendly VR immersive tech conference. Yeah. Works on friction.
Yeah, power.
Yeah. So one of the big challenges with the head-mounted display is positional tracking, which means not just how your head's positioned, but how your body's positioned as well. And some brands use an external camera, and there's other ways of doing this as well. Can you elaborate what you've been doing with the voting to achieve head tracking?
Yeah, so other companies go more from outside-in approach, so they have an outside camera that tracks you. We go the other way around, so it's inside-out tracking. We use 2 onboard cameras and processing an FPGA so that we can process that video feed in real time, detect object in the room, and base your movement on that object that you detect. So, and that enables you also to have faster vision. So one of the vision we had was that you take times to set up your head-mounted display. If you wear glasses, you do the focus in the HMD, not you can take off your glasses. So if you take that time to set up your HMD, if you just want to grab a glass of water, you don't want to take it off, just push a batch button, you do your thing, and you go back to VR.
So it's like you're referring to the camera so you can see the world around you?
Yes. Yeah. So that, we have two cameras positioned at this same placement as your eyes, so it's super.
Have you been looking at, and part of the subject is augmented reality, I don't know.
Yeah, so that, at first, when we launched it on Kickstarter, that was not a focus, but we had tremendous feedback from the community that they wanted to do a lot of AR, more than we thought. So now we're redesigning our platform so that we can process a lot more data and send that feedback to the host so we can do something else.
Now, one of the biggest challenges with the market as it is today is it's Wild West. I'm being polite, it's Wild West. I mean, there's a lot of different solutions coming to market, and for a content maker, I suspect it's challenging to be able to support all those different solutions on the market. Has VRVana had some ideas to get around this? What would you like to see happen in the industry?
Yeah, so we really like the Android model, so it's open source, every company in the space can contribute. So our vision is to do the same thing for VR. So we want to take the HMD part of that as open source SDK, but other companies in input or treadmills or any other active devices, sound, any companies that want to contribute to that ecosystem could work together in a consortium that could be chapeauté, could be by NTA, so that could be the big brother that brings everything together.
We try.
So, but we really believe in the open source approach. There's big problems to be solved in VR. You know, it's like an onion. We solve one problem, we see another, and it goes on and on and on. So, I think doing this in your corner alone is not a way to go. I think that collaborative effort is really what it is.
And I suspect that would be good for the content makers as well. So
Yeah.
to maximize.
So when it's like Android. If you program it on one device, you know it will work on most of them. So it's the same thing. It's one is the key to learn that works with any devices that in VR or in technology.
Now, what's the availability like? Are you still prototyping the device?
Yeah.
What are your
Well,
plans?
as I said, there's always new things to develop. So right now we started to put a framework for the HMD part of the SDK. If other companies are willing to join us and discuss how we could work together for other parts of the problem, but even VRVana is here today, so we want to talk to them to see what's their vision about the SDK part, if they want to close or open. So.
Yeah, so that's okay. Yeah. We're running out of time. Time flies. So just quick one before we go. I know you mentioned availability. So your Dimension Technologies has just launched a Kickstarter today. They're going to be next Galaxy will be showing the newest version in January this year, I take it.
January 20th.
January 20th. And we're trying to, of course, they're still prototyping, but you've already got something to show. Next, actually, you all have something to show next course. So very soon. So please, let's give our round of applause.